Hello, this is a Fortnite video, and in this video, I'll be dropping into Wailing Woods 20 times. Wailing is perhaps one of the most underrated locations on the Fortnite map. Before the bunker existed, it was a pretty boring place with less loot, less mobility, and no teleporters. But since then, it has become better as a location, and oh yeah, it gets destroyed afterwards, but we don't need to talk about that. Part of the reason I made this video was to get back into Fortnite and also get better at the game, after taking like an extended break from the game for about a few months. And also part of the reason why I wanted to do a video on Wailing Woods is because this is obviously inspired by LukeTheNotable's 100 drops. And also LukeTheNotable landed at Wailing Woods 100 times, and it also has the highest win rate out of any 100 drops. I decided to do a 20 drops video on Wailing Woods because I wanted to make this video very quickly, and I didn't want to do 100 drops because I didn't want it to feel stale and get bored of the game after doing 100 drops on this location. I've already tried it a few times, and yeah, it kinda gets a bit exhausting. And you know what? I think we should get this started. Let's get in to game number 1. Here we are, game 1. From the start, you can tell that I haven't played the game in months, and I hid inside the small room in the northern cabin since a player was there. He may be a bot or a real player, who knows. After he left, I went to the bunker, which was completely unlooted. But honestly, after I left the bunker, nothing much happens after this. Except for this trap kill that I recorded. A few planes later, it was a 1v1 in the final circle. To be honest, I don't know what really was going on here. I don't know if this guy is a bot, or I'm just playing dumb, or he's playing dumb, but who even gives a shit? I won the game, which is pretty cool. Game 2 was nothing special. No one came to the bunker. Throughout these drops, most people didn't came to the bunker or Wailing Woods itself. And because of that, I got the top 5 in every single game. This might sound like a good thing, but to me, I got bored most of the time and got me out of my element. That also played in my performance in those late game scenarios. And I mean, I got a purple bump, so there's that, but really, I don't have much to say about this game. I got second place with no kills where I belong. Game 3 is where I actually got my groove back. After I left the woods, things were starting to heat up. I killed several people, got a gold pump, it was great. The final circle was closing in on fatal fields. I used my heavy AR to move this into a 1-burst. The other guy ran out of materials and was supremely low on health. I knew this was my chance. I could have built, but I just played it like it was 0 build. He poked me, but I had a gold pump and ended the game in style. Okay, so here's the overall strategy when coming into Wailing Woods. First, grab all the chests in the bunker, then go to the eastern cabin since it has wooden pallets that give you a ton of wood. Then go to the northern cabin since it has the best loot out of any cabin in Wailing Woods. Then head to the western cabin since there is some stone rubble that give a ton of stone materials. Then lastly head back to the south cabin, which, since it doesn't have much importance like all the other cabins, it's still pretty good. Once you're done, head back to the bunker to farm out strong mats like stone and metal. And when the storm starts to move, take the rip to go anywhere in the world. I usually use it to head for the outpost near Lonely Launch since it had planes there. Skipping ahead to the final circle, I was attacked, but I managed to kill that guy. And I was on the right side of the safe circle and the other two were against each other. And I killed one of them and the other was lost in storm. Back-to-back wins. Pretty good. Wasn't recording for game 5. All I have is the footage of my end screen. I got second place despite all the internet issues that were plaguing throughout most of that game. I have nothing to say about game 6. I got sniped. Game 7 got crazy near the end. This is probably one of my favorite parts I've ever done on these 20 drops. I was engaged in a build battle on the top of a metal skybase. And this guy knew that I was low, but I managed to dodge all of his shots and using my blue pump to hit every critical shot to get all the juicy loot. If it wasn't for that campfire and the rift to go, I probably would have died. It was a 1v1 in the final circle, but I had almost full health, legendary guns, and of course, I was on the right side of the safe circle, and I already knew that this match was over. By the time I got into game 8, I've gotten used to the layout and the strategies in dropping Wailing Woods. Unfortunately though, I'm not very good at closing out games like this. Start off game 9 with a purple score and gold pump, which was great. But the storm closed in around Wailing Woods, and it was starting to get a little chaotic around the bunker. I left with the rift. I was pretty scared, it was starting to get a little too hot. But while trying to head back to the woods, I was attacked. I fought well, but not well enough. The only thing I'll ever show in game 10 was this cool plane kill. As a guy who does plane spotting, it's always fun to kill a player with a plane. Honestly, this was dumb. Why did I go for a rift in Salty Springs? Should have stayed on the plane. I can't believe I got so many gold pumps in these 20 drops. The game got crazy near the end. I ran out of materials. then died. I love Outlaw Minus, especially his outfit. I got a few minigun kills on these two players. Well, they're bots, but whatever. Unfortunately, when I headed to the outpost near Lonely Lodge, I encountered a player. I tried with my blue pump, but he laid in some very sneaky traps. To be honest though, I haven't been to Risky Rose yet, even though it's near Wailing. And oh yeah, if you already know, the block missed Risky. I was engaged in a build battle, but using my blue pump I was able to kill that guy, and stole all his treasures. It was a 1v1 in the final circle. We fought for a while. That circle was getting very small. However, I was able to use my gold pump to crack his shields. He started to panic, and I kept my guns trained on him until he was lost in the storm. But honestly, after game 13, none of these games aren't even as fun. Like, even though I knew the location in the back of my mind, every match, it felt like going to Wailing Woods, probably kill one person there, do nothing for the rest of the game, then just basically die, and that's pretty much how game 14 went. Pretty much the same thing happened in game 15. I didn't even get to show you much of the footage because nothing really happened most of this game. I got no kills either. Pretty much the same thing happened in game 16 as well. These last few games I was basically going through the motions at this point. I had to get through these games very quickly. My sister plays way too much Zenzo Zero that I had to do these last few games very quickly. It doesn't matter if I win or lose. I just really had to get over with it quick. And also the Ice Storm event was happening within a few hours. And I actually recorded the event live on Twitch. You can check me out on there. But let's get back to the gameplay. The only thing I'll show you in game 17 is this cool rocket pump combo kill. However, I really don't have anything much to say. I was killed by a guy who had 11 kills. He deserved to win, but he didn't. Yeah, I don't have anything much to say about game 18, but I'm glad that it's probably gonna be almost over now. I found a legendary minigun on game 19. I used it pretty effectively in the final circle. However, I should have read the minigun manual a little more. And here we are, game 20. While this second half of these 20 drops in Wailing Woods were a bit lackluster, I had a fun time dropping onto this location. It was fun learning about this location, its layouts, and of course, I'm glad I got the opportunity after all this time. This is probably one of the only times you ever get to see a real player in Wailing Woods. I could have done 100 drops on Wailing Woods, but I like doing 20 drops way more, as it is a bit more efficient for me and less time consuming and gives me a chance to do other stuff. I know that location is gonna get destroyed eventually, but I'm glad I got to drop there a few times. I shot down a plane and killed its driver and built a sky base. However, I'm not very good at closing out games and I fumbled it pretty badly. And now for statistics. I won 5 out of 20 games in these 20 drops, marking this to a 25% win ratio when dropping into Wailing Woods. Not bad, but I could have done way better. And that's pretty much it. Wailing Woods is a pretty good location to drop in. Take your time away from the sweats, farm mats, leave, and do okay in the late game scenarios. You may win, you may lose, it doesn't really matter. I recommend dropping into Wailing Woods. It's a pretty fun, safe place, but also it's not gonna really last long, and like I said from the start, it's gonna get destroyed by the volcano in about a few weeks, so drop there while you still can. You only have like a month away from the volcano destroying this POI by the time I'm recording this video. And that's pretty much it. Before I go, this is the first time I ever got to do a Fortnite 100 drops related video. I've already done 100 drops before, but never got to record or make a video on it because, you know, busy, and also these are a little hard to make. But I'm glad I got to make this video, and of course, I'll probably do another Fortnite 100 drops or 20 drops video, but I'm not really sure because I'm working on other stuff right now. I may do a 100 drops at later down the line, but we'll see. And also, if you're watching this, Luke, come to Wailing Woods. There is still time. That's pretty much it. So thank you all for watching, and yeah, I'll see you soon.